Welcome, guys! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yeah! And today we're going to be reacting to Mr. Nightmare. This one's called three very scary true neighbor horror stories by none other than Mr. Nightmare. I probably already said that. But you know, such is life. So, yeah, I'm excited to react to this video. Can't wait. It's better than tomorrow's teachings video, which I did the other day. So, yeah, can't wait. Yeah. Anyway, please subscribe, turn notification, and click the bell beside you. Anyway, let's jump right onto it, shall we? Yay! I have got my hot chocolate. It even says chocolate. Can't remember what it said. Chocolate understands. Sure does. That's nice. I like it extra chocolatey. So yeah, excited. Let's jump into this. I believe they still have their own subtitles. I don't know. I haven't watched a Mr. Nightmare video in like a couple weeks, so usually watch Mr. Nightmare off screen as well, but last couple weeks I haven't watched Mr. Nightmare, so yeah. I've been watching Criminal Minds, so yeah.
My name is Mike, and this happened last year when my fiance and I bought our first starter home together. We're an Asian couple, which is relevant to the story. It was a small two-story house in a basic suburban town in Georgia. There was nothing special about it, but to us it was supposed to be special. It was a typical quiet street, decent backyard, cheap fence, and regular-looking houses lined up next to each other. We felt lucky to even buy a house at our age, so it was a very exciting point in our lives that was quite literally robbed from us, which you'll soon hear why. The first few days were normal. We unpacked, met a few neighbors, and tried to settle in. The neighbor on our right side was a friendly older couple. The neighbor across the street waved and came across to say hi when he saw us. But the house on our left side was different. We didn't see anyone come out of it for the first few days. The curtains were always shut. The house looked clean and normal, don't get me wrong, but it was always kind of dark inside, like no one was home, even though there was a car in the driveway. The only time we noticed anything was when we saw someone standing inside their front window one afternoon. My fiancée and I were carrying groceries in from the car when she whispered something to me about it. I looked over and saw a man standing behind the curtain, only half visible, but totally watching us. He didn't wave. As soon as he saw us glance at him, he walked away from the window. It was weird, but we didn't think too much about it.
Maybe he's racist. You just never know. Maybe he's racist. There's a lot of racist people. My housemate can be racist. I don't know if I mentioned that in the video, but and it's very annoying and it's very frustrating. So maybe he's racist, or maybe he's just weird. So hopefully he's just weird, not racist. I mean, like, yeah, and hopefully he's not a psychopath. But you know, such is life.
We're just quiet or awkward. Over the next week, we started noticing him more often. Not outside, but inside his house. I would catch him standing in his living room window sometimes when I left for work. My fiancée told me she saw him in the upstairs window once when she was getting the mail. Every time we noticed him, he seemed to be watching us, but never in a way where he stayed long. The second we looked back, he was gone. One night, something happened that made both of us uneasy in a way we couldn't ignore. Around midnight, I was getting ready for bed when I walked past our upstairs window. Our bedroom window faced directly toward his house. When I looked out of habit, I saw him in his upstairs window. This time he wasn't halfway hidden or standing behind a curtain. He was fully visible. He stood straight up with his face turned toward our bedroom window. I froze for a second because I wasn't sure if I was actually seeing it right.
That's
the second
creepy.
he realized I saw him, he stepped back away from the window.
He's a
I
creep.
remember saying to my fiancée,
He's a creep. He might not be racist, but he's a creep. He's a creep. You got to be careful around those type of people. Like I haven't had so much. Like, my next door neighbour's been a little weird across the street over there. But, like, and I did have these two couples that used to follow us to the library when I lived back with my other old housemate. But, yeah, I've never had, like, a person stare at my through the window through my house, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But, yeah, yeah, no.
F. Oh, great, our neighbor's a creep. The next morning, the man came to our door. It was the first time we saw him outside. He knocked politely and introduced himself as Gordon. He apologized for looking like he was spying the night before. He told me he had been putting something on his window ledge and didn't mean to look into our room. He smiled the whole time, and it was a welcoming enough smile to give me a bit of relief. I'm not saying I loved the guy instantly. There was definitely something slightly off about him, but the
Yeah,
apology was appreciated. I didn't want to be rude, so I told him it was fine. When I went back inside, I told my fiancée he seemed somewhat nice, but a little weird. We decided to forget about it. A week later, something else
I wouldn't
happened that
forget
I
about
couldn't
it.
ignore. In the
I got
middle
too
of the
much
night, my fiancée
PTSD.
shook me awake, telling me she heard someone in the yard. I was half asleep, but I got up to check the window. Gotta do what you gotta do as the man of the house. When I
Oh,
looked
I
outside,
hate that
I saw
saying.
someone walking in our yard. Unless it was
Oh,
holding
that's a
Bigfoot,
creepy photo.
it was definitely a person, a full grown man, walking around like he was looking for something. My first
Hell no. Hell no. Bleed that house. Um, sorry, I would have, if they're in my yard, like I'm just saying, you know how I had that weird neighbor across the street. If he was in my yard, not that he's ever done that, I wouldn't be here. I'd be turning this YouTube video off and I'd be getting out there and calling the police. Just saying. I would not be sticking around.
reaction was to shout out, hey, even though I knew that wasn't the smartest thing to do. As soon as I yelled, the person walked fast toward the gate and slammed it shut behind him. Since we didn't have anything in the backyard yet besides some gardening tools, I didn't think someone was trying to steal anything, and I didn't bother to check the backyard. I did check the front windows, though, and didn't see anyone. I didn't go outside because I didn't feel safe, and eventually, my fiancée
The
and I went
man of
back
the
to sleep,
house, too. I
even
hate
though we
that
felt
saying.
uneasy. A few nights after that, the same thing happened again. My fiancée woke me up, telling me she heard rustling outside. This time we both heard it clearly. It sounded like someone was shimmying something. I can't say what, but best description I could give was some kind of lock. I went to the window again, and sure enough, I saw someone in the backyard. I felt my whole body tense up this time. I yelled that I was calling the cops. The person walked out of the yard and again slammed the gate the same way, but this time I saw enough of the man's face and posture to know it looked exactly like Gordon. I yelled Gordon, but he didn't respond. He just walked away like nothing happened. This time I went outside. I checked the yard, then the sides of the house. I took a deep breath and told myself I have to confront this now. I walked over to Gordon's house and knocked. He answered within seconds, which told me he was awake the whole time. He smiled like he always did and started laughing while telling me that it was him in the yard. He said he was chasing away kids who always jumped the fences in the neighborhood, and he caught them jumping from his backyard into our backyard. He said it happens all the time and told me I'd get used to it. He kept smiling the whole time, but something about the smile didn't feel normal. It felt like something was behind it.
Of
I
course there's
saw
something
hate in
behind
his
it.
eyes, I swear. I didn't argue with him. I just told him I understood and went back home. But deep down, I didn't believe a word he said. The next day, he came over again and invited us to come to his house for Chinese food the next night, which would be a Friday. We felt like saying yes would at least clear the awkwardness between us, and we could just be cordial neighbors. We went to his house around 7 p.m. that
Nah,
Friday. The
nah,
second we
I wouldn't
walked
go
in,
to the house. I wouldn't go to the house. I wouldn't be I'd just be like, I'd probably just tell him, stop harassing me and my wife. You know, I am going to call the police because you tried to break and enter into my house, and I caught you red-handed. So stop with this excuse that you're chasing some kids, and this is a fair warning. I feel like you've already given this person a warning anyway. Like when they were staring through your window the first time. I guess it wasn't a warning, but it was kind of was. It was a sign. So I think establishing he's already been in your yard and you barely know this person. Obviously, he has bad intentions and he's obviously dodgy, and you don't know what he's capable of. You don't know what his intentions are. They could be manipulative. That you both of you could be at harm's way. Like something could happen. Something could actually happen. And this is a very serious thing. Like it's happened to many people. Like trusting their neighborhood. You can't don't trust any of your neighbors. You can't trust any of your neighbors. I don't trust any of my neighbors. I say hi to them, as wave to them because it's polite. Doesn't mean I trust them. You don't know if they're gonna break into your house or something. And I especially would not be going um to dinner with them because then you're going to friend them and it's just going to be a whole manipulation. They're going to twist your reality and you're going to think, oh, I feel bad for them because it's a psychological reverse. He's using reverse psychology. He's twisting things to make it seem like you guys are you guys feel like you're on edge and you feel conflicted and scared out of your minds, and he's try to calm you down and try to sway you so that you can trust him so that he can break into the house. So what happens next? That you invite him to your house and then he starts stealing a bunch of things? Because that's what's going to happen. I see what he's doing because he's inviting you to his house. He's doing the first thing. He's starting off slow, and then he's like waiting for the opportunity for you to invite him to your house so that he can do whatever he's doing. I know how it works. I'm just saying, bloody idiots.
The atmosphere felt uncomfortable. Gordon seemed relatively intoxicated and got only more drunk as he kept sipping more wine. He said he ordered a bunch of Chinese food and made a little weird comment like, I know you guys love Chinese food, then laughed. He made little passive aggressive comments
Why
here.
does he have to use racial comments? I don't know if that was racist or anything, but it was definitely racial. And he didn't need to use that. You both like Chinese because you're Asians. You don't know like, if all Asian people like Chinese. You know.
Eventually the food arrived and he paid, and we
He
offered
might be
help
an
and set up the
alcoholic
table,
though.
but he almost yelled when he
I have a
said
couple
no.
friends that are
The whole
alcoholics.
dinner felt tense. Then, as he finished more and more wine, he started acting more differently. He started making rude comments that were less passive and more direct. He said things that made it pretty clear he didn't like that an Asian couple moved into the neighborhood. At first, we tried ignoring it, hoping it would stop.
Now he's got
Then it got
personality
louder and
disorder.
more angry. I mean it. He actually started getting himself angry as he talked about how this town had a history of being white. He started saying things that made
Ah, so
both of
he's
us feel
racist.
unsafe, honestly.
He's
Then he
racist.
told us that it was in fact him going into our backyard those nights. He didn't deny it or try to hide it. The climax of the night was when he yelled at us that we were not welcome there and that the neighborhood wasn't for people like us. At that point, we didn't
Hate
say
people like
anything.
this.
We just stood up and left. We walked back to our house as fast as we could. We didn't even talk about it until we were inside with the doors locked. We didn't know what to do except go to the other neighbors. So we walked door to door, asking them about Gordon. Some of them were shocked when we told them what happened. Others weren't surprised at all. A few people told us Gordon was a drunk whose wife left him years ago. It didn't make us feel any better because we were living next to him now. We tried to avoid him after that. We didn't look at his house. We didn't go outside unless we had to. But how long could you avoid your next door neighbor? Every night felt tense, like he could be watching us or trespassing again. Then, one night, A brick was thrown through our downstairs window. It shattered glass all over the living room. We both jumped out of bed when we heard it. When I ran downstairs, the brick was lying on the floor. No note attached or anything, just a brick. We knew it was Gordon. There was no one else it could have been, but we had no proof. We filed a police report. The police came to talk to him, but he denied everything. He acted confused and told them he had nothing to do with it. The police couldn't do anything except document the incident. We talked about putting up cameras and staying to fight it out. But honestly, we were too scared, and this was mentally exhausting already. We both felt like something worse would happen if we stayed. Not even 2 months after moving in, we started packing again. We couldn't live next to someone who hated us and had already gone into our yard at night.
2 months. They took 2 months, and so much shit already happened. So many things happened, and you've only been living there for 2 months. Like, you had him staring at your window, creepily staring at your window wide open at nighttime while you were asleep. You just woke up, and then like he invited you to your house and said like racial slurs, and admitted like he jumped over the fence and stalked it, and like admitted there weren't any kids. And then there's a brick shattered at your window. It's like all in 2 months. I definitely I would definitely move out. That's good that you moved out. Unlike the majority of these stories, they're like, we still live here to this day. I'm like, no, move out. Like, if that's happening all in 2 months, can you imagine what's going to be like in the next year? You'd probably be dead. Just saying.
Before we left, we filed another report explaining everything. The police said they would keep an eye on the situation, but we didn't feel protected. We moved out of that house and out of that neighborhood as fast as we could. We left behind the home we thought would be our first chapter in life together. I still think if we stayed there, you'd have eventually heard of my fiancée and I on the news having been murdered by this man. I wish it wasn't illegal to dox people. Boy, would I love to drop his address in this story. All we can do now is move on and upward from here.
Dox this address. Dox this address in this story. People when they're doxing. Didn't like SS Sniper Wolf dox someone or something? She doxed Jack's Films, or was it Jack's Films? I can't remember. Crazy. That's why I hate people. I just hate people. Not just I don't hate people like general. Like I love people. I do love people, but just general. Just general. Like people can be really harsh. That's why I love animals. I love cats. I love dogs. I love horses. I love cows, baby calves. You know, little baby deers, little baby, little baby rabbits. Rabbits are one of my favorite animal. It's weird, like rabbits and giraffes. Am I crazy? Probably. Um, yeah, little baby monkeys, little baby monkeys. That was scary. I'll give you that. That was quite scary. I'd give that like a 9.5 out of 10. I'd nearly go a 10 and 10 if he had broken to your house. But I give that 9.5 out of 10 because I think that you guys handled that very well. I think that if you stayed in that house, yes, I think you would have got murdered by that creep. And I think that deep down that even if you did stay and he didn't do, you just keep getting harassed by this person, even if you didn't get murdered. Like the harassment would have still continued. Um, yeah, there's people like that in the world that throw bricks at your house because they're racist or they have an issue with you or because, their life's so messed up they think, oh, why don't we trash another life? You know, everyone's struggling. I'm struggling. Everyone on this every one of my 500 subscribers, I don't even think I have that many, but anyone, everyone's struggling on a daily basis. Everyone, gets through life. Everything's a challenge. I'm just saying, like, nobody's perfect. Not even the richest people are perfect. They get onto drugs and Botox and stuff like that. No one has a perfect life. You come out of the womb and you're gonna have a life like everyone else. Some people might have it more difficult than others. Some people might be living like I feel grateful for how I'm living. Like I've had a pretty shit year. This year has been absolutely terrible. It's one of the worst years I've had in my life. But you know what? I'm not going to let that stop me because you know what? Everyone's had a shit year. You don't need to take it out on people just because your life is worse than others. Their life might be worse down the track. They might be having a good year at the moment, but a couple years down the track, they might be just as bad as you. You know, no one's perfect. Everyone's, surviving somehow. That's why there's so much suicide going on in the world. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. You know. What do I know? But yeah, very scary. I give that one, yeah, 9 out of 10. Maybe a 10 out of 10 because that's scary. That's scary. It's one of the scariest videos so far.
This story happened a couple of years ago, around late 2021. My name is Noah, and me and my fiancee Gabby, who is now my wife, had moved into a new house in a quiet
And give
suburban
me a drink of
neighborhood.
water.
It was a nice two-story house, perfect for our future family. The neighbors seemed friendly and welcoming as well. Most notably, the neighbors that lived to the right of us seemed the friendliest. It was a couple in their late 30s, but I wasn't really sure. The cake was really good, and we couldn't thank them enough for it.
I do
The
like red
first couple
velvet
of weeks
cake.
were good in the new neighborhood. It was quiet and peaceful, until we started noticing strange things with our neighbors, Daniel and Veronica. One night, around 11 p.m., I heard shouting coming from outside. I looked out my bedroom window and realized it was coming from their house, like they were arguing. I couldn't see them because the angle of the houses blocked my view. Eventually, I saw Veronica storm out to her car and leave. After that, it was quiet again. I told Gabby about it, and we just chalked it up to them getting into an argument and Veronica leaving to cool off. I was kind of concerned because they seemed like such sweet people, not the type to have heated arguments. But every couple has disagreements. We
That's
didn't think
true.
too much of it.
Another thing
Later on,
too. Anybody that says I live in a relation, I have a relationship with my partner. We never argued. That's a lie. No, that's a lie. Like I understand if it's not a heated up argument, it's just like a agree to disagree argument, and it goes for like 5-10 minutes. Every couple has that. I'm sorry, but if you say your relationship's that perfect, you're lying. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, everyone has a heated up argument. So yeah, maybe they're going through some stuff. I don't know.
that same
The
week,
heat is
Gabby and I were
on.
coming back home. When we got out of the car, we heard yelling
The
coming from
heat
inside their
is
house
on.
again. They had their main door open, but the storm door was closed, so we could hear them arguing clearly. Again, it wasn't our business, so we ignored it. Then one day, I
I just
noticed
spy on
Veronica's
my
car wasn't
neighbors.
there for a few days, but I assumed maybe she was on vacation. Daniel was still there because his car stayed parked, and I would see him go out once in a while. But then it became a week, then 2 weeks, and Veronica's car was still gone. My wife noticed too and thought maybe they got divorced or something, which would make sense due to their constant arguing. But the way she left was so sudden. One day her car was there, the next it was gone. And Daniel was acting weird. Every time we saw him, he would try to avoid us. He wouldn't wave like neighbors usually do. And the rare times I talked to him,
Not
he would
all my
talk
neighbors
fast and try
wave.
to
What
end
are you
the
talking about?
conversation as soon as
That's quite
possible, like
normal.
he was nervous. Something was definitely up with him. After 3 weeks of Veronica being gone, I decided to go over and ask Daniel how things were. My fiance argued against it, saying it wasn't our business and to leave it alone. But curiosity got the best of me, and I knew she was
That's why
curious
you
too,
have a dead
so I rang
cat.
his doorbell.
Just kidding.
I knew he was home because his car was there. It took him almost 3 minutes to answer, and when he did, he looked off. He was sweating like he just ran a marathon, and he had this weird forced smile like he was hiding something. I asked him about Veronica and why I haven't seen her or her car in a while. He hesitated and said, "Oh, she just went to go stay with her mom for a while out of state because she's very sick and she's looking after her." I felt like that was a lie, but I didn't question it. I might have believed him if he wasn't acting so strange. I then asked why he was sweating so much, and he said he was doing workouts upstairs. He was speaking really fast, like he was rushed or nervous, but then something happened that made my heart drop. I heard a voice scream from somewhere inside the house. I wasn't exactly sure where, but I was almost positive it was a woman's voice yelling for help. I asked what that was, and Daniel quickly said, "Oh, I'm playing a movie upstairs and forgot to pause it." That made no sense since he had just said he was working out upstairs. I just said okay, told him I would catch him later. I went back home and told Gabby everything. She was just as concerned as me and told me to call the cops. I did, and I requested to stay anonymous, even though Daniel would probably know it was me. I told the dispatcher that I heard something in my neighbor's house and wanted them to do a welfare check.
He definitely will know.
Eventually, an officer pulled up. About 10 minutes later, I heard sirens and saw 5 police cars and an ambulance. Me and Gabby rushed outside. Officers were everywhere. Daniel was being taken away in handcuffs while Veronica was being rushed to the ambulance on a stretcher.
Oh, it was Veronica! It was Veronica! I thought it was some other woman. So it was Veronica. I thought she left. I knew she wasn't staying with her mum sick, but I thought she hadn't been home. So she was getting she bloody got, she was getting tortured or something. Something was going on. She was in the house. Wow. I didn't expect that. Sorry, that was very over exaggerated. Sorry, but I was just like, I didn't expect her. I thought she was gonna. I thought she was somewhere else. This is some other woman. So it was Veronica.
Daniel and Veronica had been in an abusive relationship, and things had escalated badly. Daniel kept her locked in the basement for weeks.
Damn!
I didn't even know they had a basement. Down there, he would assault her, abuse her, and do horrible things. He even sold her car to make it look like she wasn't home. When I heard that scream while talking to him, it turned out he stabbed her 5 times because she had made noise when he told her to be quiet while he answered the door. That explained why he was acting so strange. Unfortunately, Veronica didn't survive and passed a couple hours later. As Daniel was being escorted into a police car, he said, "I know it was you who snitched on me, and you'll regret this." I wanted to laugh it off if the situation wasn't so messed up, knowing he would be behind bars for a long time. It's crazy how you never know who people truly are behind closed doors. Daniel seemed like a friendly, normal guy, and so did Veronica. They seemed like a great couple, but obviously they had serious issues hidden underneath. Fast forward a couple nights after the incident, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was dark, and I saw the silhouette of a person. As my eyes adjusted, I saw that it was Daniel. My heart dropped. He said, "I told you you would regret this." He was holding a knife. I tried talking him down, telling him to calm down and just talk, but he didn't respond. I pressed myself against the headboard. Then, out of nowhere, he lunged at me. I screamed, and then I woke up for real. I was breathing heavily, and Gabby was beside me. She asked what was wrong, and I said it was just a bad dream. She went back to sleep, but I couldn't. The fact that I dreamed about my neighbor who murdered his wife breaking into my house to kill me chills me to this day. Most dreams fade, but this one stayed vivid, and the words he said in the dream were the exact same ones he said while being taken away in cuffs. I never told my wife about this dream.
You should!
I guess because she might...
You should tell. I hate these type of people in relationships where they don't tell everyone everything about themselves. It's like, don't be in a relationship. Just tell her. That's your wife. That's Gabby. It's your wife. Like, just tell her.
They think I'm crazy or it would just stress her out.
Oh, no way.
Eventually, after we got married, we moved to another part of town. It's a nice, quiet neighborhood and a great house, but the whole event traumatized us. Knowing we lived next to a murderer still haunts us.
Shit, that's definitely a 10 out of 10. That was scary. These ones are really good. These are absolutely horrifying. I say that with every vid, but this one is very scary. That first one was like really scary, like really messed up. This one was really scary. Shit. She died. She died. I don't think I've ever heard them say the R word too. I won't use that word, but I don't think I've ever heard them use that word on here. Oh, maybe once. A hitchhiker story or something. But holy macaroni. That was scary. Sheesh. I feel bad for Veronica. Like, she didn't deserve that. Damn. Nah, that was like a 10. That was like the scariest story ever so far. One of the scariest. Top 10 scariest stories ever. That I've ever watched of Mr. Nightmare. I don't know if it's the scariest, but scary. Come on, this must be scarier because it's
This
third
happened 2
story.
years ago when I was 24 and living in a duplex in Queens, New York. It was a small, old house that looked divided right down the middle. I rented the left side, and some man rented the right side. I never met him. I never even saw him. The landlord said he kept to himself and worked nights. On my phone, I heard what sounded like a man talking, but it didn't sound like a normal man's voice. It was high-pitched, like someone trying to talk in a fake voice. It was faint, and it was being spoken from the other room, but the wall was so thin that it felt like the person was standing right next to me. I couldn't understand what he was saying. It was just this weird high voice mumbling. I tried to ignore it. Maybe he was on the phone, or maybe he was watching something on TV. Eventually, the mumbling stopped and I fell asleep. This time it was definitely a man talking. I pressed my ear lightly to the wall and listened. It didn't sound like he was on the phone. It sounded like he was talking to himself. I didn't know whether to laugh or be slightly creeped out. To block the noise out, I put the blanket over my head. I had work early the
I would
next
have put
morning and I needed
earphones in
sleep.
music
I think that was the first night I
or
realized I
headphones.
did not like living there alone. 2 weeks after that,
Alexa,
the knocks
stop.
started. I was lying in bed again, half asleep, when I heard 2 taps on the wall right next to my head. It was so close that I flinched like someone was touching me. I sat up and waited a few moments in
Alexa, stop.
silence. And then there were 2 more identical taps on the wall from the other side. I knew for sure that it was not a
I
house
have to go
settling
back.
noise.
Sorry, my Alexa tried to interrupt me. Saying, do a YouTube video because I have to remind myself.
I was lying in bed again, half asleep, when I
Sorry.
heard two
I have to go back.
be slightly creeped out. To block the noise out,
Alexa, stop.
I put the blanket over my head. I had work early the next morning and I needed sleep. I think that was the first night I realized I did not like living there alone. 2 weeks after that, the knocks started. I was lying in bed again, half asleep, when I heard 2 taps on the wall right next to my head. It was so close that I flinched like someone was touching me. I sat up and waited a few moments in silence. And then there were 2 more identical taps on the wall from the other side. I knew for sure that it was not a house settling noise that could just easily be explained away. I rolled away from the wall and sat there shaking. I kept waiting to hear something else, but it went quiet. I wanted to knock back, but I realized that acknowledging it would likely make it worse. The next morning, I told myself it was not a big deal and that I was always at night and always when I was trying to sleep. One night it went on for so long that I put in headphones and turned on a loud fan. I remember lying awake thinking about how thin the wall was, how close his room was, how close he was. He could literally be lying just 2 feet away from me. It scared me more every night. But still, the knocks could have just been him sitting against the wall and accidentally banging or tapping the wall with something. But then came the night that everything changed. I'll never forget it.
Damn.
I was lying in bed on my side, facing the wall.
Come on now.
My eyes were
Is it worse
closed,
than
but
the
I
other
was not
story?
asleep yet. The room was dark, except for my street lamp shining through the blinds. I heard the knocks again. 3 slow ones. I kept my eyes closed and tried not to react. Then I heard that same high-pitched man's voice come through the wall. It was muffled, but not that muffled. I could hear each word clear enough. He said, "What are you doing there?" My lungs locked up. I sat straight up in bed, shaking so hard I felt my teeth chattering. This was no longer just potential accidental taps on the wall. He was now acknowledging me directly. He said it straight through the wall. I could just tell he said it like he knew I was right next to him. I grabbed my phone and called my boyfriend. I whispered to him that I was scared out of my mind and told him exactly what happened. He told me he was coming over right away and he would stay the night with me. I stayed sitting up with the lights on until he arrived. The rest of the night, nothing happened. It was almost worse that way. It made me feel crazy, like the neighbor knew my boyfriend was there. For a few days, things were quiet. I started thinking maybe it was just some weird coincidence that the neighbor was doing something and I misheard. But then a few nights later, something happened that made me leave the house running. I still have bad dreams about it. I was asleep this time, fully asleep. I don't know what time it was when I woke up, but I woke up fast. Something snapped me awake. I sat up slightly, and then it started. The knocks on the wall, like someone drumming their fingers right beside my head. I screamed back without thinking. I shouted for whoever it was to leave me alone. I was shaking and breathing hard. I think mustering up the courage to finally yell back spiked my adrenaline. I don't know exactly what I expected next, but I will tell you, what did happen next, I never expected in a million years. There was a voice. It came from inside my room. A voice in the dark said, "Go to sleep." It was not the voice from the wall.
Oh, hell no. This is just eerie. Oh, hell no. Go to sleep. Damn! Go to sleep. Go to sleep my ass. I'm not gonna sleep. I'm leaving this joint. I'm getting out of here as fast as I can. Oh, heck no. Just the way he said, go to sleep. Oh, I can't. And it's in my room now? It was just in the wall before. Now it's in my room? It's in my room? Oh, oh. This one, I don't know if it's as scary as the other two. Oh, but he is in your house. Is he in your house or are you tripping? I don't know. But damn. Gosh damn it.
It was deeper, closer, right there in my room. I launched off my bed screaming. For some reason, the brief moments of my running through the hallway and down the stairs was a blur, because I really just remember getting outside and running into the street screaming for help over and over. I must have looked insane. I ran barefoot onto the sidewalk. I kept looking behind me, expecting someone to be chasing me. I didn't stop screaming until a man 2 houses down came outside and stared at me like he didn't know what to do. I begged him to let me use his phone to call my boyfriend, but he said by the sound of it I needed to call the police. So I called the police instead. I waited by that man's sidewalk, shaking and crying until the police arrived. When they showed up, I told them everything that happened. They asked me if I was sure that someone was in the house, and I said yes, 100% yes. They drove me back to my duplex, and 2 officers went inside. My front door was still wide open like I left it. They said there were no signs of forced entry. They asked me if I remembered unlocking the door as I ran out. I had no memory of touching the lock. I told them I didn't think I unlocked it, but I was so panicked that maybe I did. I couldn't be sure. They checked every room, every closet, under the bed, everywhere. No one would.
I'm just saying, if that happened to me, I don't know what I would do. Like, I'm a paranoid. I get paranoia. Like, hearing that sound would just make me go crazy. You know? Who knows? Maybe I'll develop schizophrenia if that ever happens to me. Start hearing voices. Oh, could you imagine? I feel bad for those people. Just saying.
Was in the house. They knocked on the neighbor's door too, but he wouldn't open up. It looked like he wasn't home at all. Eventually, my boyfriend showed up and took me back to his place. I was still shaking hours later. I don't remember sleeping again the rest of the night. In the morning, I called my landlord and told him everything. I told him I needed to know who the neighbor was and if he had any history of problems or strange behavior. I also told him I wanted to break the lease immediately. At first, he pushed back. He said he needed notice and paperwork. I told him I would not step foot in that duplex alone again, and he needed to help me. It took a whole day of phone calls before he said he would let me break the lease. My boyfriend came with me every single time I went back to the duplex to move my stuff. I refused to go alone. During those days, we tried knocking on the neighbor's door multiple times, but he never answered. It was like no one lived there. But there were signs that someone did, like packages at the door and a car in the driveway, but no human response. I ended up moving back in with my parents for a while until I found a new place. I still don't know if that neighbor was actually in my room that night, or if someone got in without the police noticing, or if it was just all in my head from the stress. But that one's the least likely explanation because it's pretty clear what's real and what's in your head. My landlord told me later that the neighboring tenant eventually moved out too without saying a word. I don't know what really happened in that duplex.
Maybe he had schizophrenia or something. Or paranoid schizophrenic or a paranoid personality disorder or something. Either one of the three. That's just probably the paranoid schizophrenic. That's just scary. I see you. That I don't even know how that was scary. That was really scary. That last one too. Not top 10. I think the second one. I personally think the first one was probably that was more like disturbing. Like I'd give that one like a 9, maybe 9.5 as well. That's just as bad as the first one. Yeah, it's just as bad as the first one mentally. The other one is more mentally and physically. That one's more mentally disturbing. The other one was more physically disturbing. Um, but that second one was definitely the scariest for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that was my reaction to three very scary, true neighbor horror stories by Mr. Nightmare. That was absolutely terrifying. Terrifying. Those stories were bone chilling. Um, that was pretty good for Mr. Nightmare. I was like really kind of shaken up. That second story was just insane. Just insane. The first story was just as bad as the third one. But yeah, that third one is probably the most paranoid one. Go to sleep. Oh, that sent chills down my spine. That sent chills all down my spine. Just saying. But yeah, that's my reaction. Whew! Felt like I couldn't breathe. Couldn't breathe. Like crazy. If that happened to me, uh, I would be a paranoid schizophrenic. I would be. I'd be crazy. I'd go crazy. I'm already paranoid as it is. I'd go schizophrenic, but I don't know. I don't know how some people deal with it. Life they have it harder than I do. I don't know how they deal with it. They deal with it very well. I've still got 2 parents, so I'm very, grateful. I don't know how people do it. But eventually I'll be there. Yeah. And that was my reaction to Mr. Nightmare. Anyway, please subscribe, turn notification, and click the bell beside you. I love you guys so much. Anyway, love you guys so much. Bye.